All right, we're going to revisit helping verbs just quickly here. There were some things that I did not include on these notes in yesterday's video that I want to make sure you have with you in the future. So a couple things. Helping verbs, you can have more than one before a verb. V-E-R-B. So you might have two used right before a verb. So she should have listened to her brother. Okay, so listened is my verb, but should and have are both being used as helping verbs. So you can have more than one helping verb before a verb. Okay, one other thing, they may also, or how should I word this? The helping verb, oops, my pen went out, and the main verb may be separated from each other. Okay, I will give you an example. I'll write it on the thing here a little bit so I have enough room. Did all of the doctors agree? Okay, so did all of the doctors agree is the sentence I am working with. Now we know that agree is my verb. It's a question mark at the end here, sorry. Agree is my verb, but I actually have my helping verb at the beginning of the sentence. So did agree would be my verb and my helping verb combined, even though they have words in between. Sometimes there may only be one word in between. Did, or let's do another one. When was the phone disconnected? Was disconnected. There's a couple words in between. They're not necessarily always right after the other or right before the other. So just be careful with that. Okay, so a couple things on there, just so that if you see this on a test, they may show up on here. All right, now let's move on to the next page. I said yesterday that we would get the rest of the things that we cut out set up, and we never did. So let's do that now. Linking verbs is our next title. Okay, and then we have this little list from yesterday. And then you also have one more big list from yesterday that we ripped out, but we never actually did anything with, so I apologize for that. Go ahead and cut out all the way around the outside the big list that has the gray boxes up on top that say linking verb across it, just like this. Now, unfortunately, these probably aren't going to fit on one page together. So we will spread them out over 2 pages. So let's put the big list first. You're just going to glue the whole backside down. And then we will glue the small list on the second page and take some notes on linking verbs on the second page. Okay, so this page is just going to have this list and nothing else. Then your next page, you can put the same title, linking verbs. And let's glue the smallest down with the little chain up at the top. Just glue the whole backside down and put it toward the top so we have room to take notes on linking verbs below it. Okay? All right, so go ahead and pause there if you need to finish up the cutting and gluing, and then we will move on to the notes shortly. So linking verbs, I want to kind of give you a definition of them. Linking verbs are a little bit trickier than action verbs. They're not necessarily my favorite verbs to recognize. They're used somewhat often, so I wouldn't say they're pretty rare. They're used somewhat often, but they're not as easy to determine if they're an action verb or a linking verb. And sometimes they are, but some, if you look here, you might think, oh, okay, some of these are action verbs, but they're not actually. So linking verbs do not equal, so I'm going to put an equal sign with a slash through it. I'll zoom in a little so you can read that better since I'm using green. Linking verbs do not equal action verbs. They are not the same thing, even though they may seem like it sometimes. Linking verbs link the subject of the sentence with a word in the predicate. In the, let's say, complete predicate. Which, if you remember from our first unit, is you find your simple predicate and everything after that, including the simple predicate, is your complete predicate. Okay, let me focus here a little bit. So it links the subject of the sentence with a word in the complete predicate. You can also think of linking verbs as an equal sign. Okay, that's the easiest way that I can think of them as a verb, or try to find them in a sentence, is to think of replacing that linking verb in the sentence with an equal sign. And if you can, most likely it's going to be a linking verb. So here's an example. We have a popular newspaper section is the comics. Okay, so I'm going to underline is. Is my linking verb, and is sometimes in math we think of as an equal sign, or sorry, an equal sign also. So section equals comics is what you can kind of think of it. So is, in this particular sentence, is linking section, which is the subject of the sentence. I'm going to write subject under it, linking it to another word in the complete predicate. So section equals comics. And comics is what is being linked by the word is to the subject of the sentence. Okay, let's write another example here. Down a couple lines here. The knitted mittens are very warm. Okay, now, like I said before, linking verbs are not action verbs. There's not necessarily an action going on. Actually, there isn't an action going on in the sentence. But there is still a verb, because every sentence needs a verb. So in this case, are is my linking verb. So I'm going to underline it. And are, if you think of that as an equal sign, is linking mittens to warm. So mittens is the subject of the sentence, and it's linking or being linked to warm. Mittens equal warm. Are is doing that linking. Okay, so it's linking the subject to another word in the complete predicate that's kind of describing it, but this is the verb, so it's kind of tricky. It's not an action. Are is my verb. It's my linking verb. Okay, now let's go up here to the side. If you have some room up at the top, I do want to add in a few little tips and tricks here. So I'm going to write it over here. First thing is that they describe, let's write linking verbs here. They describe the following things. And this is a colon here. They describe a state of being, they describe a result, or they indicate one of the 5 senses is being used as the verb. But the action of the sense is not the verb. Okay, and this is where they get tricky. This last one here, put a star by this one. One of the 5 senses is being used as the verb, but the action of the sense itself is not the verb. It is just the state of being of that sense. So I'm going to do with another color here. We have taste, look, you can do smell, see, feel, that would be touch, grow, sound, and you'll notice that grow and sound are also there too. Grow, you kind of think of as an action, but it can be used as a linking verb also. So let me give you a few examples of how these could be used in a sentence that could tell that they are not an action verb, but they are a linking verb. Okay, we are going to actually draw an arrow over here. I'm running out of room, so we're going to make a 3rd page of linking verbs. I apologize for this. But I found a chart that I think that we're going to copy down that I think will help describe this and kind of make sense of it. Okay, so next page, let's write linking verbs up at the top again. And we're going to write out a few of the words with examples of those words also. Okay, so we have feel. We said that was one of the 5 senses. And sometimes that could be tricky to figure out if that's actually a helping verb or a linking verb. So feel, an example for that would be, I feel awful about forgetting her birthday. Okay, so feel is my linking verb. I feel awful. Feel is the verb, it's a linking verb. But it's not necessarily an action that's taking place. It's something inside of you that is a sense of being, or it's using one of the 5 senses, but it's not an action that is moving or doing something in that moment. Another one is grow. This can be very commonly misused as an action or linking verb also. She grows prettier every day. Okay, not necessarily that something is growing right in front of your eyes. It's not doing the moving or the action of it, but it's something that's like subconsciously happening or happening in the background that's not in action, but it's a state of being because it's describing how she is being. Look, you look tired. Okay, so look is your linking verb. It's your verb of the sentence. They are not seeing, they're not doing the looking. It's not an action of look, but it's just saying how this person is being. So they look tired. Even though it is the verb, that is not an action verb. You equals tired. She equals prettier. I equals awful. Okay, so it's kind of linking your subject to a description of the verb. Okay, let's do one with sound. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, so there's not an actual sound taking place. There's not an action going on, but it's describing a state of being. It's saying that, whatever that is, it's a pronoun or a demonstrative pronoun. We don't know what it is, linking it to idea. Okay, and then let's do taste. This tastes good. So there's not the action of taste going on in the sentence. They are not putting it in their mouth and chewing it and describing the taste. It's just saying it tastes good. So this is being linked to good. This equals good. But it's not the actual action of chewing and eating. It is just describing its taste. And then another one is smell. The milk smells funny. Okay, now smells is being used as a linking verb. Milk equals funny. It's linking milk to funny, but it's not the actual action of smelling. So you're not breathing in the scent of it to breathe out and determine what that smells like. It is just stating that it smells funny, but it's not the actual action of that. So hopefully that helped. If it didn't, let me know and I can explain it a little bit further. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, so there's not a huge urgency to make sure that you totally understand it, but I do want to bring it to your attention just so that you can have that knowledge in the back of your mind. Okay, and that is all we're doing today, just notes on it. We're not doing any practice or anything, so just when you are done with the notes, if you need to go back and revisit them, please do. Otherwise, that is all we're doing today. Thank you.